Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. All right, and welcome to another episode of The Surge Effect. Today, we are going to be talking about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden getting off scot-free with his plea deal. But before we get into that, we're going to mention a couple of our sponsors today. Our first sponsor is Love My Legs, OwenSound Grey Bruce. If you just click on the description below, click on their link, and it will take you right to their Facebook page. Love My Legs allows you to strut with confidence and offering 3 styles of waistbands for comfort and wearability, and the only lifetime guarantee in the industry. For more information, like I said, follow them on the link below. Click on it, go right to their Facebook page. Next sponsor is going to be He Shirts, She Shirts. Head on over to their webpage. You can just click on the link below, heshirtsheshirts.ca. And you can see that they are more than just a t-shirt company. They offer a variety of different clothing. All right, so let's get into it. We are first going to start off with a little news clip from Jesse Waters talking a little bit about Hunter Biden. And this is what Jesse has to say. Let's have a listen.
Fox News alert. After 5 years, the feds have finally charged Hunter Biden. The president's son today pled guilty to 2 counts of tax evasion. Hunter didn't pay federal income taxes for 2 years on over $1 million in income, and the prosecutors are asking for no prison time. Repeat tax cheat. And prosecutors are also letting Hunter Biden skate on possession of an illegal firearm, which could have sent him to prison for 10 years. But Hunter is getting a pretrial diversion, which means his charges get dropped if he doesn't do drugs. This plea deal actually goes against Justice Department guidelines on the tax and the gun charge. This isn't a plea deal. This is a cover-up. Hunter Biden's attorney says the case is closed.
This is an investigation to FARA violations, which is how you register to work
Listen
with the foreign government if you're an American citizen.
Lawyer says here about the laptop.
Money laundering. Again, 5 years, and what they came up with is 2 misdemeanor tax counts.
That's the resolution we have, is that Mr. Biden's going to take responsibility for failing to timely pay his taxes for those 2 years.
Is this the end of it?
My understanding is that
They had no idea when they were talking, she was going to ask him a question about the laptop. Hunter's lawyer didn't even know that they even asked a question about the laptop, and they never asked a question about the laptop, which is highly suspicious in itself. But just to give you an example, when Jesse was saying there that for tax evasion, he's going to get no time for tax evasion. Well, I'm sure that you all know who this gentleman here I'm going to post up here. Al Capone. Alphonse Capone. He went to prison. They got him. He was a murderer, okay? And he was a gangster back in the 30s, of course. And then the Prohibition made his money on prostitution and gambling and liquor. They actually got him for tax evasion. Yeah, that's right, tax evasion. They put him in prison, Alcatraz, for 11 years. That's what he got, 11 years. And he paid them all back. The money that he was supposed to pay, he paid them back. And they still gave him 11 years. And he got 11 years in Alcatraz. There's also somebody else that got tax evasion charges, and this was, about 10 years ago. That's right, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes went to prison for 3 years for not paying taxes for a couple of years. And that's the double-edged system that we have. You got people like Wesley Snipes or, Al Capone, and there's numerous other people that don't pay their taxes, and they go to jail, and Biden does not. Anyway, let's listen to what a prosecutor has to say about what has gone on with the whole Biden situation. So let's have a listen.
Over to Brett Tolman. He's a former federal prosecutor who specializes in tax crimes. All right, Brett, is this case a sweetheart deal?
Oh, it's a beauty.
Jesse, let's start with the beginning of a sweetheart deal. You have Joe Biden, who ushered in penalties, extreme penalties for crack cocaine distribution, possession, distribution, and use, and 100 times the length of a sentence for powder cocaine. And then he just recently signed a bill that if you were a user in possession of a firearm, you were no longer facing up to 10 years, but 15 years. So he's willing to be real tough, take off the kid gloves when it comes to these types of crimes, unless it's his kid. All of us, all of our, kids or anybody else, any Joe American citizen out there would be facing outrageous sentences, and I'm talking decades in federal prison. Not only is this a sweetheart deal, they had to manipulate and do legal and factual gymnastics to actually achieve it. And they violated their own internal policies on every single count.
Of course they did.
What do those internal policies say? I can't imagine you cheat the government out of taxes for 2 years and wave around a hot gun in front of drugs and just walk.
John Ashcroft issued a memo, and Eric Holder issued a memo as attorneys general. They indicated that you have to charge the highest, most reasonable, provable offense for the evidence you have. Not one of these is the highest provable offense. The tax charges are misdemeanors that are rarely, if ever, brought when involving millions of dollars. I've never seen a diversion on a gun charge. And the reason, Jesse, is DOJ has a policy that they will not divert. And that means they'll get rid of the felony if you'll behave. They don't divert in gun crimes because they've specifically exempted it. You have to have special permission. So all of this was manipulation. And let's say they ignored the laptop. We already know that they didn't follow any of the transactions involving the money. They're not doing what's called sourcing. Sourcing follows money, and if it went out of one bank account and into somebody else's or into an LLC, then you have conspiracy and you have money laundering and wire fraud. And all of that comes with years in federal prison.
Not for Hunter Biden, it doesn't.
Federal prosecutor, what do you think about the fact that this federal prosecutor didn't follow the money and didn't even open the laptop?
Well, I've seen some outrageous things over the last few years, things that just make you shocked at what you're seeing. But you don't have to hate the Bidens or like Trump or be political at all and not be outraged at this. There isn't a single individual out there that's been prosecuted under the gun statute or the tax evasion statute or has the illegal money that was coming in like this that didn't get laughed at when they approached DOJ and asked for a diversion or asked for a misdemeanor. It just doesn't happen. Can you imagine walking in to some gang member's house that is using drugs, and they have crack cocaine and they have guns around? There's escorts who might be underage, and you have millions of dollars. You think they don't seize all of that and throw the book at them? They do it with everybody in this country except for someone named Biden.
Now, that's pretty shitty when you look at it, right? That's pretty shitty. That an average Joe did the same thing. You're facing jail time, you're facing prison time, and just because it's who it is, they do a plea deal and they get off. Yeah, I'm sure Wesley Snipes is pretty pissed off at that right about now. Looking back, going, well, how come I did 3 years in prison? Did the exact same thing, and he paid it back as well. But Wesley Snipes paid back millions, and they still put him in prison for 3 years. Anyway, let's listen to what Newsmax has to say. Newsmax, we're talking about Biden, and they had a couple lawyers on doing their little take on what should have happened, and what they think was going to happen, but obviously it didn't. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Find out what the plea bargain is, John, and I am concerned. Usually in federal court, they're filed at the same time. So So we don't know whether all other conduct up until this day is forgiven by the Justice Department. That's usually how I've always made plea deals, whatever side I'm on. You forgive all the rest of the conduct. And I'll tell you the conduct that concerns me, and I can go into in detail later, and that is about corruption in Ukraine, which I personally know about.
Well, and that's the thing. The GOP says they're going to continue looking into the transaction. So the investigation into this is not over. It is interesting, though, because, you know, I think we kind of saw this coming, the misdemeanors. I mean,
Hunter should have got a maximum of 2 years just for the taxes alone.
David Weiss, John Victoria, to do something that
should have got
this
10
would be kind of the something
for the
that would
gun
allow
charge,
it to do.
but he didn't.
Well, we charge him in something. But when we look at the lawyer's statement, what's fascinating, too, is just how they say basically this has been resolved. That's their take on it. It's, you know, when we talk about two-tier justice, for many say this is far from resolved.
So this was released just a little bit before Hunter took the plea deal?
And what about some of the investigations, for example, with his child payments that he's talking about in Arkansas? How do all of these kind of converge into what appears to be the DOJ, you know, giving him a sweetheart plea deal, but also these other intense focuses from the GOP and the IRS whistleblower?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that this is a sweetheart deal. There's no other description of it. Now, Hunter Biden's lawyer says the investigation is resolved, but the U.S. attorney in a statement today said the investigation is ongoing. Now, we would only know who's telling the truth if we could see a copy of the plea agreement, which was not filed today with the court. So really, we don't know the contours of what's been agreed to. But I do know this. Comer's investigation is going to continue. Jim Jordan's investigation is going to continue. But make no mistake about it. The Biden family has won. I mean, they have won a massive victory. This is corruption 101 with the cooperation of the Department of Justice. David Weiss, the U.S. attorney in Delaware, should be ashamed of himself. This is an embarrassment of a resolution. To think 5 years to get to this? No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, 5 years, and this is all they can come up with after 5 years. It's quite shocking. It's quite shocking. So here's Kevin McCarthy, who was the Speaker of the House. He'll let you know what he feels about it right now.
The two-tier system in America. If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal. Now, this does nothing to our investigation. It actually should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now, saying that because of pending investigation, they should be able to provide Chairman Comer with any information that he requires.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? He already blasted the Department of Justice for the sweetheart deal. He already blasted the Department of Justice about that. So let's listen to what some of the people in the House, what they tweeted out. A lot of them went to Twitter and started tweeting some messages out in regards to this whole situation. So there's one here, basically saying it's a slap on the wrist for Hunter Biden while the big guy continues to hunt down his top political opponent. This doesn't show equal justice. It's a mockery of our legal system by a family that has no respect for our laws. That was Senator Rick Scott. Let's find another one here. There's one from Ron DeSantis. It looks like Hunter received a sweetheart of a deal, and he's not facing any charges on the massive corruption allegations. If Hunter was not connected to the elite DC class, he would have been put in jail a long time ago. That was Ron DeSantis. Another one is, let's see here, the Hunter Biden plea deal is a joke. It's a retreat and reveals they're even more scared than ever of scrutiny for the real crimes. The real target is the audio tapes of the alleged bribe for Hunter and Joe from the Ukrainian executives of an oligarchy-owned Burisma, and the hundreds of billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars kicked back to Ukraine to make good on a favor. Don't buy the deflection It's just a smokescreen. That was Vivek Ramaswamy. He's running for the presidential position. Of course, this aroused anger among Republicans who claimed that the relatively easy treatment the president's son was receiving, that's what all these Twitter backlashes are. The Biden DOJ is trying to send Trump to prison for the rest of his life over document dispute, but they are giving Hunter Biden a sweetheart deal to keep him out of jail. We have a two-tiered justice system in America. Kimberly Guilfoyle. And like I said, when Democrats are investigating, everything is slow-walked, and it ends with a slap in the wrist. Don't believe me? Just look at Hunter Biden. 3 questions. When does evading millions in federal income tax get a slap on the wrist? Ask Wesley Snipes what he thinks. Number 2, did Hunter Biden pay his fair share on those millions? Any thoughts, AOC? And number 3, at POTUS, where is your $5 million from Burisma? This tweet was from Representative Byron Donalds from Florida. Any other American would have the book thrown at them. The president's son gets a slap on the wrist. This is Exhibit 1402 for why I'm holding Biden's DOJ nominees. We have a two-tier justice system in our country. It is a disgrace. That was Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio. So Hunter Biden gets a special plea deal. Slap on the wrist probably won't do a day of time while DOJ charges Trump as a spy and tries to put him in prison forever. It's a two-standard justice. That's Senator Josh Hawley. One more from Josh Hawley. What we really need to know is, did Burisma pay off Joe Biden to the tune of $5 million? Did China pay off the Bidens? And why did Joe Biden keep thousands of pages of classified documents? That was Josh Hawley. Don't let the Hunter Biden plea deal news today distract you from Special Counsel John Durham's testimony on the House. That's today, actually, the 21st of June. The release of this plea deal this morning is part of a bigger deflection scheme. That was from Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona. Another one, this guy was a sheriff, actually, Representative Troy Nehls from Texas. Hunter Biden is getting off with a plea deal and no jail time. President Trump was right again and again and again and again. That was Representative Troy Nehls from Texas. Hunter Biden is receiving a sweetheart deal from the DOJ that shields the big guy, Joe Biden, from the Biden foreign bribery operation. The cash and diamonds he didn't pay taxes on came from China, Russia, and Ukraine. No FARA, foreign agent charges. 2 systems of justice. That was Representative Mary Miller. So there you have. Oh, we got one more. One more from Mr. Representative Jim Jordan. Double standard of justice, says Jim Jordan. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what the heck is going on down the states. I mean, these people are getting away with things that other people would not. The average everyday American would not, or would go to jail, sorry. They'd go to jail about that fast, whereas the Bidens seem to be Teflon. They just get to slide through, which is a crime in itself. It really is. You know, they've been doing this investigation for 5 years. Well, like the one gentleman said there in the news clip, follow the money. You know, where's the money? Follow that money trail, because something still smells, and people need to go to jail for this. This is ridiculous. You know, so anyway, that is it for today for this podcast. It was a short and sweet one, just about, of course, Biden getting off, you know, basically on a plea, and that's a crime in itself. I just want to thank everyone for listening to my podcast, everyone that's liked, subscribed, even shared some of my videos. It's very much appreciated. You can also check out some of my motivational videos as well. I put on motivational videos a couple years ago, and I still try to do them. I put some on just a few months back. I try to do motivational stuff when I can. For those people who are having a rough go in life, please go check out some of my motivational videos. Hope that I can help you out in some small way. All my videos that I post on YouTube also go to Rumble, rumble.com. So I can be found on Rumble at The Surge Affect. Just go and do a search and you will see my TSA with the microphone there. I can also be found on any Android or iPhone application for listening to podcasts. You just have to type in the search bar, The Surge Affect. Once again, you will see the TSA with my microphone and all the things that I post here on YouTube. I post the audio version on Podbean, actually, and it is dispersed throughout everything. So that's how that works. So once again, please don't forget to subscribe and like my podcast. If you ring this bell, just cling this little bell here, and you'll get notified every single time I post a new video, and keep you up to speed on what's going on. I try to post when I can. Stuff that's in the news cycles, I try to stay up on stuff the best I can. Anyway, that's it for today. Until next podcast, everyone, please have a great day, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.